Hear ye, hear ye. Today we have a new after show on AfterBuzz Dramas, The Spanish Princess. Stay tuned for some news and gossip, some real life facts, and everything else right here, right now on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Spanish Princess on AfterBuzz Dramas. My name is Tsahai Wilson, and welcome to our new panel. I have a lovely panel of co-hosts with me today. Ladies, please introduce yourselves.
Hey, how's it going? Kari Lane here.
Hey everybody, it's Virginia Reina.
So this show was amazing. It's part of an 8-part miniseries, and today this is our first after show. We're going to be covering what happened, getting to know the characters, giving you some in real life news and gossip and some drama, all right here, right now. So let's get into it. What was your initial thoughts of this first episode, which is called The New World?
I loved it. I'm such a British history fan, and I think this gives us such a nice eye-opening look to what goes on with Catherine, because so many times it's about the king. It's like, I want to know what's going on with the woman. So I really enjoyed the way that they portrayed everything.
And Kari, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I liked that we got to see her young, because in other portrayals, like in The Tudors, she's much older. Not to say that that was an old person, but like here she's, you know, not even married yet, you know, fresh young flower of like happy, bright-eyed at the world. And later it's always when she's a little more bitter about all the things that have happened to her later.
It was great seeing this strong female character. Mm-hmm. You know, we see she comes from a dynasty of strong women. Her mother's a
Her mom was such a badass.
I'm so excited
with the sword.
Okay,
Yes.
her mom is literally a soldier, you know, making her way with her sword. And just to see the strong character was really amazing. I love, and she also, her court was strong. So let's get to know the characters in this series. We, you know, for some of us, like Virginia, she's like more of a historian, and so for myself, it's like I love the drama and the actual, you know, what's going on in the show itself. So we start with the trip to England, where Catherine has to go meet Arthur, and she is not prepared for the trip itself. She's throwing up, and she cannot handle it, but she has her ladies in waiting there to help her. What did you guys think about the traveling portion?
Well, first of all, her mom, like, that was just so amazing. It reminded me of Wonder Woman, like where she comes out with the sword and she's just like gonna battle the Moors. And, you know, and then you think like she's leaving the Mediterranean, like this beautiful place that it's so much similar to California, to go to England where she's like, it's raining. Like, right. You know, it's constantly raining. So just to think like how, you know, they believe that they're born to serve their country.
Right.
So she's doing this, but like how much does she really want, like how much would you want to leave California to live in England? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they had no concept of whether climate change would be for them when they get there. Like, is it always this cold? Yes, I'm sorry. It's going to suck in comparison. Their journey across, like, it was kind of nice to see the different parts of Spain in a way, too, because we got the more Mediterranean, lush and green at the beginning, more where they first started, and then we have the desert, because there are some different terrains. And, man, that boat ride, I'm so glad that I love the strong women, and, okay, we're in England, but it's not the right spot. She goes, I don't care, land now. I was like, thank you. Yes. I'd rather go on foot too and horseback, not the waves.
You know, it was interesting to see during the journey where Queen Isabella started fighting. You know, Catherine was like reminding herself that this is for her country. She had to remind herself, okay, this is what I'm doing. I am going to get married. This is for my country, and this is what I have to do, because she was like, it's not about me. There's a big picture here, and that was really interesting to see that her focus was on that. She wasn't worried about herself. She was worried about what her duty. When duty calls, you got to do what you got to do.
Right, and I feel like that's the thing that they always say in these shows that focus on royalty, like even like with Crown, like you said, you know, they always are like, this is my God-given duty. Like, I am here to serve my country. I have to not worry about myself. It's like, this is my job. So it was really, I love that you see her repeating that throughout the episode as well.
And we also get to meet her ladies in waiting, Lina and Rosa.
I love Lina.
Yeah, Lina.
Lina, yes. so much.
Rosa, oh, come on, girl.
Oh, Rosa's just too naive for me that I'm like, girl, please stop. I feel like she's dumb at this point, and it's unfortunate.
She seems very young and easily manipulated.
Yes.
And I feel like that's going to cause some trouble down the line. So we have Lena, who is one of the ladies in waiting for Catherine, and then she is a black woman, which, a lot of people were surprised to see. But in reading an article, I read that was actually factual. It's not something they just did for the show. So that was great to see. And she's like, okay, listen, nothing's going to mess this up. I'm trying to be in the court. We have to stay focused. So she keeps everyone in check, including when they get to England. Then we have young Rosa, who is very, what would you say? Like, not feeble-minded, but...
Boy crazy?
Boy crazy.
Youthful, gorgeous,
But who can blame her? I mean, when you're young and cute, that happens,
Yeah,
but there's no birth control back then.
No,
Right.
she's going to get herself in trouble. So after this arduous trip, traveling on this boat, they land in England in the wrong location, and the king is upset. He's like, wait a minute, this is not where you were supposed to land. But Catherine is like, listen, this is what I have to do. Get me off of this boat immediately. And that's when they experience the weather for the first time. And have you guys ever been to England?
Yes.
Yeah, I went last spring, so the weather wasn't bad. But can you imagine coming from the heat and the sunshine to this cold, dreary weather? It was definitely a culture shock for her.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
And for them. So then she meets the family of Arthur's family. And that was definitely an interesting moment because...
Another kind of shock.
Yeah, definitely. for both parties.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on that initial meeting?
Oh, Queen Mother needs to be put in her place. I'm so glad that our princess is not having any of it. She's talking back at people, but because that is her place. She's like, I am the princess. This is not correct, and I can speak English just fine.
Right.
Like, oh, thank you.
Right, and
like, not push over.
And her mother instilled in her, you are to be like the steward of Spain and represent us, and you are just as right to this as anybody else.
Right.
So I loved that she stood her ground and that her lady in waiting stood her ground, because she was like, you don't want your house or your castle smelling like caca. And I was like, you girl, because that was just crazy that they were going to put him, and I think just the different accommodations, she was like, we have hot water, all these different things that they're just eye-opening to. Ooh,
Right.
what is
Bathe
going
once a week is
once
good
a
enough.
week.
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah, I love that, this Western English civilization we are the most profound and we are the most intelligent. We bathe once a week. So many Eastern cultures, and then now we've seen Spain too.
Right.
No, every single day.
So what the ladies are referencing, Lady Margaret, when Lena wants to... I'm sorry, not Lena.
Isabella?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
Infanta.
Lena.
Yeah.
When Lena wants Catherine to take a bath, Queen Mother is like, no, only once a week. And Lena's like, no, that's not how we do it here. We use herbs, we use vanilla. I need all these added things, and I need hot water. And that's something, now we take for granted, not realizing that back then, it was either harder to come by or not available at all. So there's definitely a culture
Oh,
shock.
and the vanilla too. Oh, we have our own kindling. That sounds like a really nice bath. We could do that today. Let's put those things in there.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that we also, backtracking a little bit to the travel, is that's when we see the brewing romance between Oviedo and Lena.
Yeah.
Now, Oviedo, loving him already.
Yes.
And he's also Muslim. So here he was praying on the ship, and he's like, listen, and Lena's like, no, that's inappropriate. You serve the princess now. And he's like, I do, but this is also who I am, and I'm not going to disrespect her, but I'm still going to keep my faith. So we saw that there's going to be some, we saw that they have a connection, definitely.
And I appreciate, and I like that his character is intelligent and he's trying to learn the language too. He's not just going to skate by. He's like, no, I'm learning it too. And there are kind of jokes of how he doesn't know it, but then that's kind of nice. That makes Lena laugh.
Right. And you see these two characters and you would think, okay, maybe they're from the same culture, but they too are not. They have different religions. They come from different backgrounds. So they're also learning from each other. So we saw this mix between everybody in this episode. We also meet Arthur, who has a really serious bowl cut.
Oh, it's so
my
bad.
gosh. So bad.
Yeah. And we also meet Prince Henry, a.k.a. Prince Harry. Are we going to call him Henry or Harry? I get...
Well, if
it's
he
a little
goes
bit
by
of-
Harry, and Isabella called him Harry too.
True.
Or, I don't know why, because I was looking at the wrong name. Sorry. Catherine called him
Right.
Harry.
So Harry is the nickname. Henry
Yes.
is the Christian-born name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he will eventually become King Henry VIII.
Okay, so we'll call him Prince Henry, just to.
We'll say Henry.
Prince Henry,
Yeah.
because when I think
Yeah.
of Prince Harry, I think of
I think
Harry.
modern
Prince
day,
Prince
yes,
Harry.
exactly, and that
who is
that-
also Prince Henry, though, really. His
Technically.
real name is Henry.
Right. So we'll call him Prince Henry for the purposes of this show as we get to know all these characters, who we find out has been the one writing these love letters to Catherine.
Which is less creepy than the dad. I had almost thought it
I
was
thought
the
it
dad
was
at
the
first.
dad.
We did think it was the dad for a moment.
I was like, the king wrote it because it seemed like putting those pieces together
Yeah.
beforehand and go, but okay, it's Henry, but that's
It
still
definitely
awkward.
seemed like the father when he was like, "Let me see your face," and then
Yeah.
he seemed pleased with it, like, "Okay, this is the girl I've been writing."
Yeah.
It definitely went there, and I was like, "Ooh."
And he said all the things we've done. It's like,
Right.
did he write that?
Right. So we also find out that 2 men were killed in order for this marriage to occur for Catherine and Arthur, which was scandalous.
Well, they said it was, and there'd be no competition, but technically, isn't Henry competition to his brother?
Well, technically, but no, because they can like control that within their own
Okay.
family. These
Okay.
are like other people that can control, like can compete. You know, like the Duke of like a
manipulate.
different,
Yeah,
you
they'd be
know,
next in line.
Exactly.
Right,
So
and-
that's why it's like that's like a clear lineage that they wouldn't, you know, overstep.
We also saw that Arthur's mother is very concerned about, you know, outsiders and gossip and possible betrayal. She's even asking her sister, Margaret Pole, whether or not she's, you know, who is her allegiance to. So there's a lot of, you know, there. I mean, back then, you know, you could get
Right.
killed for anything. So you had to be sure that people were, what side people were taking. We also get to meet some other interesting characters. But first, let's talk about our AfterBuzz shows, our other AfterBuzz shows, and why we love them so much.
Yes, and so I know you all are watching the show on the drama channel, but we have a few other channels as well. So make sure you subscribe for this channel, the dramas, so you can be up to date on all kinds of drama shows like this. But we also have, if you're into maybe more historical fiction with fantasy, there's a fantasy sci-fi channel. There's also an animation channel. And then make sure to give us a rating on iTunes. You know, 1 through 4 don't work, so that 5 stars is awesome. Also, you know, click the thumbs up on the video and let us know what you think of the show. Comments down below. We love to interact with all of you out there and love to hear your feedback because that helps us become better reach so that you can be more informed. So thank you for supporting us and doing what we love.
Thank you. And I think I messed up on the names as we get to know all these beautiful characters. I think it was Aunt Maggie and Uncle Richard. That's the sister of Arthur's mother, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Aunt Maggie.
So Aunt Maggie.
Yeah.
So Aunt Maggie, her children are not with her. She's helping out Arthur while his mother cannot. And is his mother pregnant? Is that why
She's
can't?
pregnant,
Okay.
yes.
She
So,
is. I was going to say, is she just saying that?
No, she is. I think they end up having, I mean, she has several children. So,
Right.
yeah, you know, like I said, no birth control. So you just keep having children.
right. And I found it interesting when Arthur's mother was like, your job is to give us sons, not
Right.
daughters, but sons.
Right, which is foreshadowing because,
Right.
like, we find out that she actually never bears any children. And then the ones that she does.
Which is not her fault.
Which is
Right.
not her fault. It's never the woman's fault for the
Right.
sex. But yeah, so it's some interesting foreshadowing that they do there.
Yeah. So before the wedding, Catherine's at the Tower of England.
Of London.
That
which
does not
is-
look like great
That
accommodations.
is not a lovely
no,
place
no.
to get married.
No, and you think of all the executions that have happened
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
And-
it's not a nice place.
Not at all. And she actually doesn't want to. She, after speaking to Arthur's mother, she's like, you know what, this is not for me. Please add more water to my bath. She's trying to delay it as much as possible. You know, here it is. She comes
She's
to
being
this.
a little stubborn.
She's being a little stubborn, but with good cause. You know,
Yes.
she's in this cold place. She doesn't have her herbs and spices for her bath. She finds out the brother's been secretly writing the letters, and now the mom is kissing her and kind of threatening her low key. The father has already banged on the door and pushed his way into her room to see her. And so they're not creating a welcoming environment.
No,
for
not
her.
at all. And then real quick, we have from the chat, we have a Susan Gonzalez, sorry if I said that wrong, mentions that Margaret Pole is Queen Elizabeth's cousin. Because we were double checking on that.
Yes.
Siblings or cousins, so then that does make sense too.
Got it.
And
Thank
I
you.
think one thing about her was that she was like one of the only women in England at the time that had peerage, which is like they were like basically at the same rank as like a male.
Okay.
So she was like one of the only ones. So I think that's why she's like so kind of bitchy, because she's like having to watch all this go down in front of her, but she can't really say anything. So it's like really hard for her.
Also, I love that she's from Downton Abbey. I was like,
Yes, and we'll talk about that in one of our special
Yes.
segments. I love that. Overall, if of all the characters that we met, do you currently have a favorite right now? If you had to pick.
Lena's pretty great.
Lena's your girl.
And then I like the duo of Lena and
Oviedo
I do like
or
that as
Rosa.
well. No, well, we'll wait on who she should be with, or who they can be together. No, Catherine and Lena together,
Okay.
because I like that they're both very strong women, but Lena's strong enough to also be like, hey, stop being a brat. I know this sucks, but we are going to make the most of it.
Right.
So
Right.
I like the hunker down, we're going to do this attitude, and I feel they're going to be a really good team to deal with all these outside forces.
Definitely. How
Yeah,
about you?
because it's like they're in it together. They only have like their little group of people that they brought along.
Yeah.
So, like those are the only people you can really trust, because you have no idea what you're walking into or like what other hidden drama, because you saw that thing with the mom where, she's like, don't cross me because like the only thing important to me is my sons.
Right.
So it's like, I thought there was going to be like this moment where they like really bond and like she was like, no, we're both strong women. I'm glad your mom said I was like whatever, nerves of steel. So I thought they were going to have this great moment. And then she just comes out with the like,
Nope.
have you crossed me and it's over.
Yeah, and then she sealed it with that weird kiss.
Weird kiss.
Yeah, we were like, what's going on here?
I feel it's a dominance thing.
Definitely. Like,
Yeah.
you are a child, and I basically own you, even though you think you do. It was basically, Catherine had showed to be so defiant and so strong-willed, and they were like, we've waited 6 months for you, and we killed people for you. You're going to do what we say. So.
Yeah. Susan also added in the chat that the White Princess came before this and addressed the sibling. So Maggie's brother being killed. And so it's apparently many of the same characters played by different people.
Oh.
That's really interesting. I wonder if that's actually confusing, though, because you'd be like, wait, who? What?
It's already got a lot going on in this one, so I'm going
Yes.
to focus on this one.
Yeah.
But I do know Philippa Gregory wrote several novels, and so there were two series prior to this, The White Queen and The White Princess. And so
Yes.
now we have The Spanish Princess. So I'm going to stick with this.
Yes.
one.
But thank you very much, Live Chat, for context of other information, because some of this, they are filling us in on information. Other
Yes.
parts, we're just like, okay.
Yes,
And
we
like we're hitting the
appreciate
ground
it.
running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and thank you so much. Continue to give us comments, and we'll hit you back just as we, continue to enjoy this show. So, the wedding. We see Henry, who we'll call Prince Henry, is walking her down the aisle. Takes off those cute clogs, by the way. Those I thought those were very cute.
Her wedges are super cute.
Her
yeah.
wedges were super cute, and the costumes were amazing in this
Yes.
entire
Yes.
episode. And she has to be walked down the aisle,
I
and
like that she's barefoot.
yes. We
was
were
like,
commenting,
okay.
why is she barefoot? Is there a historical
I
reason?
don't know anything about that one.
I would think visually it showed, one, it made me think about being barefoot and pregnant, because they're like,
Right.
this is what your job is here to. Two, to me, it made her connect to the land, and she's still
Yeah.
adjusting, so to feel the soil, feel the coldness of the
Yes.
stone, it forced her to connect to where she was, and it was like a reality check. And
Sorry, I was gonna say maybe it's something with like, because she's the one getting married, because it wasn't the church, because he had his shoes on too.
Yeah.
And remember when she landed, going to church was like very important to
Yes.
her. She was like, I need to do this. She also needed to bathe, and she also needed to take a siesta.
And the veil,
Yes.
keeping her veil, as in her piety as well.
Right. So it was like she was like trying to bring her traditions to England, and they were like, nah, you gotta leave
We don't do that here. Yes.
You gotta leave it behind,
Yes.
and this is a new start, and just do what we say.
Yeah.
So overall thoughts on this, after watching everything, did you feel like, okay, this is something I'm really gonna get into, or what were your feelings overall?
Definitely interesting enough
Yeah.
to want to keep going, for
Yeah.
sure. I enjoy historical dramas as well, and I like the little disclaimer at the end of some things have been changed, so which we'll talk about a little bit on some of those changes. But it's interesting to get an overall sense, like this is kind of your historical fiction kind of binging of like, I want that kind of content.
Right.
Yeah.
And what made you want to be a part of this show?
I've just always really loved, just the historical aspect of anything related to British history, European history. I used to live in Europe, so I love like revisiting all these places that I've been to and I've gotten to see and like learn the stories. And so I just really wanted to see how it was going to play out.
Yeah.
And I really love just all the strong women though that they show, because even the mother, though she's like mean to Catherine, she's still like a strong woman, because you see her husband is like crying almost, like what is going to happen to England, and she's like, get it together, man, like we're going to figure this out, which I feel like sometimes is the case. I feel like us women really, hold it together when we have to.
And the Queen Mother was, even though she's kind of our villain at this point, she's also a very
always
strong woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's always that actress always plays the villain. I love BBC dramas, and so this show was, I loved Downton Abbey, I loved The Crown, so watching this is exciting for me. And one of the things that we brought up, like you said, towards the end we saw that they had this disclaimer that there are some things that are adjusted for the purpose of the show. So that will take us into one of our segments about our news and gossip segment.
It will. So we are going to do a segment called Keeping It Real. And,
there we are.
So we're let's talk about like how what we saw kind of connects to some current day royal news.
So the first thing that stood out to me was Prince Henry. So he's allegedly 5 years younger than his brother, and he's sending these letters. So at the time, he's supposed to be 9 or 10 years old. Now, I don't really know if a 9 or 10-year-old is going to be writing these steamy love letters, but, I don't know. What do you ladies think?
Probably not.
I mean, they were bored, so you never know what could happen. They had a lot of time on their hands.
He could have wrote them, but maybe wouldn't be, he might not be that experienced, or maybe he was.
Yeah, we don't know.
Do you know how old she was supposed to be?
Oh, I don't remember. She was definitely older, because as you see in other dramas, she's older than older than him by like 12 or maybe 14 years. I don't know. But because she was also older than Prince Arthur, because Prince Arthur was 15 when they got married, and they had to get like papal blessing for that.
Okay.
So she was definitely older than both of them.
Because Henry looks like older than her.
Right, he looks older, and so that's what's like a little confusing.
Yes.
So that's not exactly accurate. And then also she was wearing a white wedding dress. It's
pretty though.
It was beautiful, but Queen Victoria, like 19th century, was the one that started that wedding trend. And then the last one that you pointed out was that Columbus was like her confidant, kind of.
Yeah, that was interesting. I almost was thinking Lena was insinuating that she had a crush on Columbus.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Because it's a compass. Come on. They didn't say Columbus specifically, but it's a
They called
compass.
they called him Columbo. So I was like, wait a minute, like the old school 70s show detective guy?
With the jacket?
Yeah, who were they referencing? But actually they were referencing Christopher Columbus, that, Catherine had a friendship with Christopher Columbus, and he supposedly gave her this compass that she actually, in our show, walks down the aisle with.
And then later, though, she is the person who sends him to the Americas.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there was that tie-in.
So we see those are some of the real facts in comparison to what we saw in the show, and we'll continue to try to give you some of those each week.
I'm so sorry. One more thing, too. Sadie Cat in the TV in the chat points out also, happy she was redheaded because the real princess was, too. That was also something a lot of fans have been very excited about, that she actually looks like what she looked like, and that she's actually portrayed young, because most other media we see her in she is like, let's say she's 16 here, she's portrayed more like 30s and 40s, and not, what she actually looked like.
Right. So then we'll move on to, how you see characters in shows like this in all these costumes, and then you see them in real life and you're like, who is that? What role do they play? So we have something called Keeping It Real.
Yes! I like that fanfare.
So our first picture is of Charlotte Hope, who plays Catherine. Here she is in her beautiful wedding dress. But then we see her in our next photo in a Women's Wear Daily Instagram post, where she did an article with them in her regular clothes, looking just as posh, just as royal, and just as beautiful. Now, one thing for Game of Thrones fans, Charlotte was also in Game of Thrones, and she played the Miranda, the dog trainer's daughter / the mistress of Ramsay Bolton. Are you guys Game of Thrones
I
fans?
am, and I did see that some people pointed out. I didn't necessarily recognize her right away, because it is interesting how one's hair color can change how they look. But then I go, oh yeah.
Exactly. We'll also flip to the next photo where, she got voted one of the most hated characters on the 30 most hated characters on Game of Thrones. And if you remember, she was mean. So it's great to see her in this new role and in something different. So next we have Miss Carmichael, who plays
She plays Aunt Maggie.
Aunt Maggie. Okay, so she also played Lady Edith in Downton Abbey, which we'll see her on the red carpet here, looking cute and posh, and then we see her in her Downton Abbey role. And again, hair color, costumes changes, totally different person.
And just how it frames her face, because the dark hair on her and being pulled back does make her look so much older. And then Downton Abbey, she has the cute little bob, and it's a little more blonde. And I was really happy to see her on screen again.
And then in Downton Abbey, she was like so quiet and a little meek. And now here, it seems like she's about to mess up some stuff.
Yes, I'm excited to see her do that.
Next, we see our future lovebirds, Aaron and Stephanie, so Oviedo and Lena. And in real life, we see them at the gym together.
Nice.
Hanging out, keeping it tight, working. I mean, you gotta stay sexy for your lover.
Right?
Yes.
That's cool. It's always nice to see when celebrities and actors hang out together outside of production. Because you're like, oh, you guys seem to get along. And then, oh, you really do.
Exactly. And many of them are really British. So to see that they, are building this relationship outside of the show, it's a first season show. You never know what's going to happen sometimes, you know. So you got to continue to build that bond. And then we move on to Nadia Parks, our Rosa. Here looking lovely before she, was making out with the married man that we saw.
Right?
Scandalous.
She's like, he's so nice. She didn't at all go, I know he's married, but.
Yeah, she was worried about how soft his hands were, how kind he was.
Right, where'd those hands go?
But it made me wonder, why she was so, needing attention so much. But you have to remember, these two women are waiting to be married, and Catherine is the one who's going to determine who marries them, from what it sounded like. And then we see Rosa on the red carpet, looking lovely in a beautiful black dress with ruffles. So it was nice to see her outside of her costume and in something different.
Now, we were talking about this beforehand. Did you feel that Rosa had met him before?
I felt like
because it felt like it.
Yeah, his name, let me get his name right, Stafford, kind of corners Rosa in the hallway when she's looking for herbs and vanilla for Catherine's bath. And they did seem very familiar. She was not shocked, and she easily walked away with him, and suddenly they're making out. Now, did they have sex, or were they just making out?
I'm going to go there just making out. That he maybe got handsy.
Okay.
But...
that's how she felt, the soft hands.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, her hair was a bit disheveled when she was by the fireplace. But no, probably not yet, because I feel she's naive, but maybe not that naive.
Hopefully not.
Yet.
Just save your flower, ladies.
Wait, lady.
Yeah,
please.
save your flowers. Don't come to England and just, get crazy, get wild, because you still have a job to do. So that's what I think also Lena's going to be struggling with, keeping Rosa on track. She's going to have to be keeping Catherine focused on what they came to do, but then also keeping an eye out for young Rosa over here making out in the corner. So that was our in real life segment. Now we're going to talk about how this show connects to some of the modern day royal family. You were, Virginia, talking about the baby.
Right. So for those of you that are British royalty fans currently, or fans of the current royal family like myself, we're all just waiting for Meghan Markle to have the baby, because it seems like she's been pregnant for 10 months now. And I'm sure it feels like that to her too, because, when you're waiting to have the baby, the last couple of days are just the worst. So, there was this gossip going around that she already had the baby because Queen Elizabeth and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge went and visited her on Easter Day after church. And they were like, there's no way the Queen would go visit them all the way at Frogmore Cottage if she didn't have the baby.
Okay.
So there was all of this drama, they haven't told it and they're hiding this. But then the British, they actually announced that they will let them know when the baby is born and that it hasn't been born yet, because there was all this speculation. And they said they were going to keep it quiet, but because there was so much drama about it, they said, okay, we will let you know, but it hasn't happened yet. So we're still waiting.
I don't know. I'm always skeptical. I feel like the royal family, throughout history, they've done some shady business to keep secrets and lies. And so I'm always like, I love them. but you just never know. You
Right.
just
Well,
never
and then
know.
there was like an ambulance that showed up at their house, and so like a
DC?
lot of
Maybe
people were
early
wondering what
false
happened.
alarms?
Right. It could be false labor.
She has been traveling a lot. I'm like,
Right.
girl,
I
stay in
know.
one place, keep your feet up.
Right.
And then I was seeing it on Twitter and just talking about it reminded me. Did you see the gossip that there's possibly cheating?
With Prince William, there is no way that he cheated on Catherine, because Catherine is like the most amazing like queen to be. Are you kidding? There is no way he cheated on her. I am sorry.
I'm not saying
It is not going to happen, especially with the girl that it was supposed to be with. Come on, she's like
But that's what they
down
said too.
here
They're like, you
compared to
know what?
Catherine.
They're like, ladies and possibly gentlemen too. It's like if he would cheat on this amazingness,
Right.
you know.
It would have to be
Yeah.
like a supermodel or somebody just
No,
so
that's not.
amazing.
No, have you? There's
No,
that's in
this
a few
girl-
other movies too. They can be a lesser thing, but they give them something else.
There is no way that he cheated on Catherine with this girl. No,
You
no,
know,
no.
you never know. You never know. It's anything is possible. I think, especially with a man that has such little hair, he's gonna need someone who's kind of boosting up that ego sometimes. Because I'm sure it's hard. Your brother over here still got a full head of hair, and you are just thinning little by little.
But what does Catherine not have?
No,
I
but
mean,
you
she
know-
is like Wonder Woman, and those kids are just so perfect.
I
and, you
know.
there's no way.
Well, that's kind of will lead us into predictions because people are predicting.
It's all our speculation. Yes.
Your AfterBuzz TV
Yeah.
predictions.
We saw at the end that this season is going to be amazing for the Spanish princess. I think we're going to continue to see Catherine having to push her way into this family and make her impact, and she's not going to bow down to them the way that they want her to. This budding romance with Prince Henry is going to increase. I'm also looking to forward to seeing more of Charlie Brandon, Henry's friend, like who just eggs him on. He was like, yeah, do this, do that, play with the bow and arrow.
So I'm single too.
Yeah, like so these two are definitely going to cause trouble, and I'm interested to see this. Also, this budding relationship between Oviedo and Lena, I'm excited to see. And then Rosa, she's a mess, but I like her.
I'm curious where it will go, because I mean we already know from history in the trailers that she'll eventually marry Henry.
Right.
But it's how it gets there and how they handle it and the fallout that's the thing we're excited for, because we go, okay, we know that's gonna happen.
Right.
But how are the details leading up to it? I think Rosa's gonna be a problem of some way, shape, or form. And Lena's gonna have her hands full trying to take care of her and Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that Arthur is not going to stay with us very long, because they already show like he had to have died for her to be like, I'm still going to be the Queen of England.
Right.
So we're definitely going to see that soon. And I think Aunt Maggie is going to get her hands like in it with Elizabeth, because they are just there's something that they're going to like go to blows with.
Yeah.
That I feel like is going on that we haven't yet seen, and they haven't really given us a hint to.
I love it. So the Spanish princess, she said she's the daughter of, she's the Queen of England. This is what her focus is. Daughter of Spain, Queen of England, and wife to Prince Arthur. So those are her focus. We'll see what changes throughout this season.
She's the early mantra speaker. She's doing her mantras.
She
Her
really
affirmations.
was. She has
She's like,
to.
this is what I'm focusing on, and then she's going to meet her goals.
Yes, she was strong in her faith, and she's strong in her personality and her courage and her confidence, and I love it. So thank you for joining us on our first episode of the Spanish Princess after show here on AfterBuzz Dramas. Stay tuned for us next week right here at the same time, same place. You can find me at Say Hi Tsahai on Instagram and Twitter. And ladies, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's Karidlane.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Virginia Reina.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week, and hit us up in the comments. Bye.
See ya.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.